buffers, he really starts to take off and carry his team. But as you can see, we have entered into pick and ban for this final match between OMG and IMA. 10 weeks will now be decided in the next 60 minutes.
And one of these teams is done. The other one goes through to the semi-finals against Team WE, arguably the easiest side of the bracket, which means the best chance at making it to the finals, but they need to get through this one, Dom.
Gotta actually finish the match first. We've got 2 top lane bans out towards Amazing J. You can see him rubbing his eyes, perhaps looking a little tired here, as that is Ivern also banned away from Ben 4. Shen and Rengar still banned from World 6, and they leave Kog'Maw and Fizz open.
They banned Twitch.
That is interesting. We haven't seen that since game 1.
That is... Yeah, like I understand we haven't seen it, but it also means that that's immediately going to be locked, right? So the reason that they would ban Twitch expecting a Kog'Maw to be locked in is because they want the Fizz, so there's a higher priority towards the top lane themselves, and that also means that realistically there's got to be an answer of some kind now down there in the bottom lane, where they pick themselves the Karma right now, they flex the Karma one more time, and then look towards even maybe a Caitlyn or an Ez, like a champion that can just survive the laning phase, or do they want to kill lane to actually take out the Kog'Maw?
Looks like it's comfort picks from IMA. Ben 4 picking Graves away now from World 6. That means that he goes back towards that Lee Sin. You can see a bit of a smile creep across his lips as he gets to lock in that champion.
Of course. OMG are going to be sitting pretty at the moment as they also pick themselves up their support of choice. You would expect to be matched by IMA now. Kog'Maw Lulu. They got themselves the composition that they want.
Very strong setup from OMG. IMA, what are you giving over? What on earth are you planning? They're now going to look at Karma for Athena or Road. Again, that could be flexed. It's played by both.
Don't necessarily need to pick it now, but OMG will ban it in the second ban phase, so it makes sense that they don't go towards that. The only reason you would look at Karma is if it's a flex pick and you still want something in the support role. But now they can see the Lulu from OMG. They don't need to hide their hand, so to speak.
Well, they're hiding something right now, is it's jungle, top lane, and support. That leaves mid and AD carry for Jin Zhao and Athena. And with how Jin Zhao's performing, you've got to wonder, what on earth are they thinking? LeBlanc being banned away from Icon. We're expecting to see a Syndra ban as well. That's been banned away in every other game.
Kled probably to follow as well, but there's also a Fizz, so at the same time, who really knows what OMG are going to ban? And have they actually worked out that the Fizz is a top lane champion and not going to ban the Kled this time? Because Athena does still play it.
Yeah, he very well does, very well could. And now we get towards the next ban from IMA. Let's see if they do decide to go towards Syndra. I was incorrect. In fact, they left it open in game number 4. They have actually banned out Gragas, so the Syndra goes through once again. And now that's a Talia ban, so it looks like OMG aren't quite sure now that they see that Gragas.
I really like the Gragas ban. It's the pick of the series effectively into the Fizz. It seems to be the way to go. Always going to be the answer. So where will Xiang be against the Fizz? Is he going to default to a Renekton again? Maybe rush a Hex Drink or a magic resistance of some kind?
Yeah.
Get his Spectre's Cow and just hold on. How will he handle it?
And Echo now locked in for Athena in the mid lane, unless that is going to be swapped to tank top Echo. Very interesting to see that.
Partially a denial pick away from Icon as well. The Echo player in the LPL. Athena can play it. Excels on Assassin, surprisingly. Has been known as much more of a control mage player.
So we've seen Athena play Echo once so far in 2017, and he's actually lost. That's the only time we've ever seen him play Echo professionally. So this is going to be something new from him. And yeah, there's the Renekton that you expected. So he's taking that into the Fizz, and now Icon gets to pick whatever he wants into that Echo. And they are saving AD carry to last for IMA.
OMG are a very traditional team in the LPL, the old Chinese roster. The mentality of a Kog'Maw Lulu composition is that assassins are necessary.
Of course.
To flank the opponents, distract them perhaps away from the Kog'Maw that is going to be hitting them the entire time. Multiple flanks. Flanks are scary. The Kog'Maw then gets free hits.
He will have to make it towards that point, however, and he's up against the likes of Graves, Fizz, and Echo. And final pick is Ziggs AD carry for Jin Zhao. So this is the secret strategy that I may have been building for this entire time.
They hovered a Varus. They decided they didn't want the Varus. And now they've picked themselves up the Ziggs AD carry. SMLZ is the Ziggs AD carry player. So this is definitely transpired a little bit differently to how you would expect. In fact, I would imagine that if we swapped the bottom lane over, it would be normal. Anyway, Aimee. That is curious. The fact that they've gone for this Siege champion, this champion that can usually hold minion waves quite well, but they put a Nami with it for sustain, means that they kind of want to win lane, but they're not fully committing to just winning lane.
Yeah, and again, this is the second time that we're going to see Jin Zhao on this Ziggs. He also has only played it once professionally in the LPL, and that was also a loss. So both Athena and Jin Zhao playing champions they've only played one other time and lost with.
Competitive games,
yeah. In competitive, of course. Ranked is a whole different story. But this is Game 5. This is 10 weeks worth of progress on the line in one match. And they're breaking out these champions that they have not had success with. I really hope Aimee are going to show us something here.
They've just made such a risky decision. And again, their bottom lane, you know, Ziggs Nami, not going to outright win. Kog'Maw Lulu will kill you before they actually deal with minion waves. They'll be okay. If they can get the push, though, if the jungler can show up to the Kog'Maw lane, keep him under the turret, then the Ziggs wins. If you look at the Lee Sin for OMG, probably the most important member on this team right now, Aimee have a Fizz. You'd expect the Fizz to do well in the top lane. It trades pretty strongly into Renekton. Renekton has to be in auto attack range, so you'll get really good combos off for the Fizz. Mid lane, I mean, it's an Echo against an Ahri. You're both just going to clear waves, probably disappear. There's a chance for 1-3-1s to be seen through the assassin-style champions we have got in this middle lane. And it's bottom lane against bottom lane. But it's what the junglers can do to impact the map.
And one of those is Graves, one of those is Lee Sin. Let's see if OMG can do it and complete the reverse sweep. Close out this 3-0 set. 3-2 set against Aimee, whereas Aimee trying to regain footing after stumbling not once but twice in game number 3 and 4. We have loaded onto the Rift for our final match in this best of 5. The ultimate decider, and the crowd is chanting as loud as they can.
That's not as loud as they can.
That's the Aimee. I mean, it's the same few folks that we've been hearing every time.
Still definitely a lot of enthusiasm in this crowd. Game 6 basically at the moment as we are on. We have a Monarch Kog'Maw as well from SMLZ.
I am really going to be looking forward to this jungle pathing from the two. I mean, you already mentioned how effective they are at going back to it, affecting these bottom lanes super early on. But we also see both the top laners being pulled down as well.
Yeah, so what I mean by that as well, like it's a Lee Sin against a Graves. So when we're talking about pathing specifically, Lee Sin's a buff to buff jungler, may look for an invade, may look for a gank, like there's a higher probability that he does. Graves' best bet is getting the double buffs and then potentially looking for a gank, but he's much more of a farming jungler. So Ben 4, you'd expect, will be opportunistic, perhaps level 2 cheese, things like that can happen all the time, whereas World 6 has defined windows where he has buffs and actually wants to gank. But there's also the possibility that because we're referencing pathing, he's a level 6 jungler. He can actually just sit back, farm his jungle, do the level 4 clear, and just hard farm towards the level 6 point. And that's when you'll see him actually impact the lanes. By doing that, I would say the onus is a little bit more heavily onto Ben 4 to upset the balance of the bottom lane specifically, whereas World 6 can come down as needed and actually impact it.
And that's what we see out of World 6 right now. He went for Gromp. He's doing Wolves right now. That's half of his jungle being cleared. Here goes an invade, and they're actually catching out just as the ward dies. So Ben 4 doing Scuttle Crab right now. He sees that the bottom lane from OMG is pushed in. They do still have a ward for SMLZ, so he's going to drop that in the river to keep himself safe.
Yeah, the one thing we are seeing, however, is that World 6 has done the full jungle clear, so he goes for the Gromp, which most Lee Sins would not go towards. Whereas Ben 4 forgoes the Krugs, of course, as you would do. He's now going to do the blue buff himself. So delayed blue buff, better clears as time goes on for the rest of the map.
And with that, we see the lanes interacting rather freely. SMLZ going to be quite happy that there's not going to be a Graves in his lane for at least a little while longer, as Ben 4 heads towards that top side, and as you said, looks for that Krugs. World 6 already at his own, just as the wave begins to push back.
Good harass being seen out of Jin Zhao as well, but the minion wave's now pushing back. This is really the battle that SMLZ and 5 will have, is preventing it from getting under their turret. Pushing the waves, but not pushing too hard. You don't want to be stuck at the enemy turret against the Ziggs, and especially not with the Graves and an explosive plant readily available, especially where you don't know where Ben 4 is.
Yeah, you can see Ben 4 showing up mid just in case that Chronosphere had landed, so just trying to time that a little bit. There's a good trade. Charm makes it answer right back. There goes the range. Ignite from Icon. Athena flashes, but Icon can follow up, and World 6 gets the first blood.
Yeah, World 6 just comes in and collects the kill. Compliments of Icon even using the Ignite early. 100% aware of the fact that he would take that down. Well done from OMG, especially with Ben 4 being there initially, reacting to the fact that Athena had no W, had no shield available, nothing to keep him alive. That's big from OMG.
Yeah, huge mistake from Athena. I appreciate the idea, but definitely not the execution. And now that's a 1,000 gold lead very early on for OMG. You can see how pleased the audience with that is, with that. Words, man.
They're tough.
And now you've got to imagine again, with all of the momentum of 2-0 behind them in their last 2 games, even taunts from Icon in lane.
He is one of those guys.
I may have got to be feeling this.
Yeah, Icon potentially, I was going to suggest, brings the minions towards his turret, holds it. The closer he gets to 6, the better it's going to be, especially against the no flash Athena. Always going to be the risk of getting kills there in a 1v1 scenario. More so, controlling the minion wave, getting a good recall in, which he had, and then impacting the bottom lane, or going top lane and killing Fizz. Champion with no flash. Every Fizz goes Ignite.
He does pop level 6, and Athena catches the wave as it comes in. Misses a handful of minions. He's only down about 1 minion wave after giving up that first blood, but any amount of gold under Icon's belt is going to be effective.
And it is good for Athena to only be down 7 CS and still have the teleport.
Yeah.
The fact that he managed to keep the teleport after dying, didn't just use it to come back to lane, means he's got the potential to impact side lanes if Icon ever decides to leave, which is why he would have a higher expectation towards lane kills opposed to rotation.
Meanwhile, the junglers have been rather comfortable just hard farming all around the map. World 6 is getting so close to level 6, and Ben 4 is getting close as well.
World 6 is about 3 roughly camps off, but he's banking on the damage that would come out of the Ahri anyway.
Yeah.
Very achievable if the charm connects.
Sitting just outside of vision. Now Athena sees it, so he goes up just in time.
Nothing doing.
Yeah. And we're seeing this game take a much slower pace than most of the others in the matchup. It's been all about the laning phase, all about that jungle pathing to see who can open up a slight advantage. And it means that we're not seeing too much excitement very early on. Mountain Dragon is the first one on the Rift, so there will be some priority to get that early on, especially if your name is Aime and you've got a Ziggs on your team.
And Xiang's definitely adept in trading against Amazing J as well. You just saw the trade pattern there as junglers are fighting over blue buffs. The trick against Fizz, always dash away before the W proc can go off. So Xiang actually using his leap. World 6 gets it.
Yeah, smites his own blue. Athena actually tries to go for it and immediately Chrono breaks back out as Xiang and Amazing J were down there as well.
It's the kind of play that's going to get you killed in this middle lane if you don't have your ultimate against an Ahri.
Against Icon, sorry.
But, for what it's worth, taking away the blue buff from the Ahri is a big thing. Even though Ben 4 doesn't get it, and World 6 does, it means that Icon doesn't. Really, that's what they want.
Meanwhile, Vision is now being set up on the bottom side of the map. Road completes his first recall for a Sightstone and starts to control that backside of the dragon just in case.
Feels bad, man.
And that's just Icon things.
What are you going to do?
He wants to make you have a bad time. So far, 1 minion missed. Soon to be 2 as Xiang trades with Amazing J still. That's Dominus used very early on. Again, no flash for Amazing J, but he's able to walk under the turret.
Amazing J living there. I mean, honestly, an expectation now that Xiang has no ultimate, will be able to turn things around himself. However, Amazing J doesn't have a lot of health to speak of, so realistically, he'll have to go back to base after clearing a wave. The question is, when he recalls, does he teleport to the lane? Because if he does, he's looking to kill the lane. If he doesn't, he knows that they want to do the Mountain Drake as a team, but based off Ben 4's movements at the moment, I don't think it matters too much.
Yeah, that's
not looking at Drake.
Dark Seal, Cloth Armor. He's still sitting on Fountain before making his way towards top. And Ben 4, as you said, clearing out on that top side. Teleport from Athena as he gets back towards the mid lane. Merc treads to keep himself alive against Icon. And Drake could still be an option. They're still holding onto that teleport for Amazing J at the cost of a few minions. But they are going to be at a significant stat disadvantage.
Not the easiest of trades. So speaking of trades, this is kind of how it works down in the bottom lane. Jin Zhao tries to keep his distance and poke with the bouncing bombs consistently, but if Kog'Maw ever closes the gap, then you know the pain train's coming in your direction.
Oh man, Ben 4 is starting up blue buff for Athena, but World 6 is sneaking the dragon.
Yeah, it's a mountain Drake, so very easily soloable Drake. Attacks slowly as a lumbering mountainous.
Gentle giant.
Yeah, I guess he's gentle. Come
Athena.
back.
Oh, whoops. There he goes. Managed to get the auto attack to finally pop it off. But that is now Mountain Dragon for OMG. And again, OMG, this is a team that just started to come together towards the back half of the LPL split, getting out of cross-conference and back into inter-conference play. We saw them really start to unify and play as a more cohesive unit.
You know, the week we saw them actually start winning the game and playing better, Dom, was the week that they started playing Kog'Maw.
Oh, yeah.
The craziest thing about this right now is that when you hit that late game team fight, SMLZ is the player that you want on Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw or Lucian, his two standout champions at the moment. Honestly, he's been having a great split, really stepped up as a captain for his team. But the fact that Aimee have given him this champion really concerns me.
And you have to look at what did they trade for it. They got Echo in the mid lane, they've got Ziggs bottom, and they did get that Fizz priority.
The trade was entirely for Fizz. They acknowledge first picks are going to be top lane instead of bottom.
World 6, though, looking to gank Athena. A kick and a follow-up. They're just going to burst him out. He gets the chrono bake, but Icon reads it. And with 5 showing up just in time for the polymorph, they get another kill onto Athena. Ben 4 shows up top as the Chum the Waters misses. Aimee's play misses, and OMG succeeds.
In fact, Xiang actually wins that trade in the top lane with the ultimate gone from Amazing J. OMG sieging mid.
Flash, silence, and the Sonic Wave. Another kill for OMG, and Aimee are falling apart at the seams.
They are definitely suffering still.
Mega Inferno Bomb. The burst from Graves is not enough as OMG scram. The turret is still up, but they don't get any kills.
Yeah, Ben 4 looking for Icon in particular there, but he flashes out to safety. Ari having no ultimate still has a mobility summoner spell available to his name. Unfortunately for Aimee, Ben 4 was looking top lane, not where his team was being ganked. And now OMG. Jin Zhao knows.
Yeah. Turns it around. The bouncing bomb will only proc if it hits a champion or it bounces 3 times.
And bounced twice.
Bounced twice. So he gets bottom to defend his tier 1. SMLZ gets a few hits onto it. You can see we're starting to see a CS advantage for that Kog'Maw. The question that I wanted to get to earlier, with Aimee prioritizing that Fizz so much that they gave up Kog'Maw for it, who wins late game? Fizz is unkillable, but Kog'Maw kills everything.
That's relative to how much can a Ziggs do late game, right? This is basically, the funniest thing about it is Aimee banned the Twitch. They're like, no, we're not going to play the Twitch. And then they realized that they're against the Kog'Maw and needed to find a late game carry anyway.
Yeah.
So they've found themselves upon a Ziggs, the champion that Jin Zhao's only played once, as you have alluded towards already. Late game, Ziggs is still a monster. He's a turret-taking machine. If you ever give him an inch, he will take an inhibitor.
I like how that figure of speech just escalates for a Ziggs. Ben 4 is even zoning World 6 away down here as Jin Zhao looks to get a push. I'm curious to see if he is going for the satchel charge max first on Jin Zhao, or if he's just going for the sustain with bouncing bomb.
Bombs based off how much damage he's been doing.
Yeah, Athena finds Icon on the roam just to follow and feign. He's on top of a ward. Drops out the Time Winder, and Icon has a nice hearty chuckle before heading back
Still
to the
looking
bottom
towards
lane.
the bottom lane, most importantly, is the lane that SMLZ needs to be protected in. The coveted carry of this team must be at all costs looked after. Icon even going down towards his bottom lane. He is a fed member of the opposing team, but it's also the fact that if Jin Zhao and Road ever break the turret, if the turret ever dies, they lane swap, they get another turret eventually in the top lane as well. And throughout all of this, that's the global gold advantage that Ziggs will always give towards you. And the longer that they can prolong that from happening, the more that a Kog'Maw will scale, the better off that they're going to be.
You just saw Aimee, Amazing J, roaming mid, looking for an opportunity. But this is OMG who are finding a bit of momentum as they get bottom. They brought Icon and World 6.
That was a teleport ward, so All eyes on
Feared
bottom.
out. Sonic Wave finds Ben 4. That Graves will happily let that Lee Sin dash onto him, because that just gets him closer in range for those auto attacks.
In saying that, there's a Hex Drinker Lee Sin, so not a lot is going to kill him except Ben 4. As it currently stands, the Graves is a very important member on this team, especially with all the magic damage they've got going for them, except for Ben 4, who's physical.
So very respectful from World 6. We're seeing him play very intelligently in this, looking for those priority targets and even building towards it, as he just goes around and invades this jungle. Right there is Ben 4. He's got Xiong to help him. Oh man, the Tempest clears out all those tiny ones. Ben 4 was so close.
They're sieging this middle lane most. I don't think they actually want to go for the red buff all that heavy-handed, especially with Amazing J rotating, but they're fighting.
Yeah, he's trading back and forth. There's Xiong. Chum the Waters is going to knock him up. Sonic Wave misses. Athena's on the side.
Whoa,
Icon goes in. He gets good damage onto Ben 4. He's still got 2 charges of Spirit Rush. 1 charge, 0 charges of Spirit Rush. I think he tried to get over the wall twice.
Hey, he's just playing Athena for the full, I think, ulting on the spot. Again, not the red buff that they were actually looking towards. That was already gone. Just trying to find picks. Those picks honestly would not have meant a lot. There's no Drake to get. They wouldn't have done Elder. Maybe Rift Herald.
Mid-tier 1.
What does matter though is after this blue buff goes down, where does World 6 go? Because there is a Mountain Drake in 20 seconds. And if he's not there in time, Ben 4 has the inside track based off just where his blue buff spawns.
Yeah.
Map advantage.
There is a ward on that side of the map on that blue buff to spot him out. Athena is going to be passed over towards that blue right now. And let's see, finishing out those Dire Wolves. They both walk out into the river. Still no dragon just yet, but SMLZ is pushing bottom. He's low on mana. Enough gold for the Bladed Ruin King. Looks like OMG want to try to get a recall first.
Pretty much no emphasis towards the Mountain Drake whatsoever. It's the second that OMG would be able to pick up for themselves, and that is very valuable.
And Ben 4 immediately turns onto it. He's spotted out by 5 and turns to pull it out of the pit. World 6 is around the side, a full level ahead of Ben 4. Athena's going to try to burst it down. They're doing a lot of damage. Bouncing Bomb, Sonic Wave misses. Ben 4's got his smite ready. And this is Mountain Dragon. Ooh, the max range Glitter Lance. He's got to finish it! Okay, that was a little unlucky there.
He had no smite. World 6 did. So they had to burst it down as soon as they possibly could. Or it might have just been walked out and stolen.
That feel when the slow return of the Time Winder is what gets it back. Teleport mid lane now from Athena. You can see Amazing J is walking down to defend it. He's still got blue buff and has finished off his Proto Belt, so he can do some damage. But slowly but surely, he's losing chip damage on that tier 1 turret.
Yeah, and eventually the turret will just fall. At the same time, you know, the bottom lane turret starts to get pressured. Zig's very good at holding off, but because of World 6 and 5 always going towards the jungle of IMA, he has to abandon the turret here and there. Maybe throw his ultimate just to try and help clear it.
Yeah, Athena now trading a little bit with Icon, gets himself a shield, the bubble onto SMLZ, but World 6 is diving. Lands the Sonic Wave, there's Tidal Wave. Knock up onto World 6, it's going to find 5 as well. They've got enough burst with Ben 4 to get their first kill of game number 5.
IMA actually on the board. Very good counter gank, a little bit too aggressive from World 6, I think it's safe to say. And now this is where the danger game begins for OMG. They don't have any vision of Ben 4. Yes, he doesn't have his ultimate, but his presence should actually help them secure turrets. However, SMLZ
Blade of the Ruin King. 2 autos brings Jin Zhao to below half health. That's flash from SMLZ. Ben 4 doesn't have one, but he does have got the end of the line for 5.
A simultaneous bomb and Graves burst means another kill, but the turret stands. And whilst it's a bad trade for OMG, you have to count your blessings that they haven't broken any structures just yet. Zig's getting Mountain Dragons. Not okay.
Yeah, he cannot be allowed to get that. Next dragon, luckily, though, is an Ocean. So not going to have that much pressure from it. 539 health. That's what, 3 auto attacks from Kog'Maw? 4?
I think it's a bit more than that, but it's definitely within a stone's throw of being knocked down.
That wave clear from Ziggs is doing a lot of work. The Morello's already finished off as Icon continues to taunt Athena, just trying to play him, not only in lane, but player to player, man to man. Slowly but surely, he is opening up more and more of an advantage as this lane goes on.
He's definitely having some words, though, the devil, isn't he?
Yeah. And look at Athena's face. That is the face of a man who's not happy.
I mean, his face is never happy.
It's the same as it always is, but now it has a different context.
I mean, currently, he is holding on for his life. He's 0-2, not having the best of laning phase experiences, and that'll happen pretty early as structures
Ooh, good wave clear. They brought World 6 and Icon with his priority rotation. Sonic Wave on the road. He immediately is like, no, please, let me live.
And Icon finally being freed in lane. This is what we mentioned a little while ago. Basically, if you ever find a moment.
Sonic Wave onto Athena. Ben4 is there, but that is not going to result in anything.
Speaking of moment, you ever get a moment to free Icon from his lane? The fact that he is 101 completed items there, his impact is going to be huge around the map, as is Echo, but Athena doesn't have teleports. That was a really good window of opportunity to try and push their way through the bottom lane, get themselves the structures, and now we look towards OMG again. Where are you going to put your Kog'Maw when you want to have the Renekton against the Fizz presently?
Currently, he's still hanging out bottom, hasn't completed his recall just yet. Jin Zhao is still down there as Ben4 holds the minion wave for Amazing J. They are still hanging on to that teleport. And Amazing J is actually heading top. Baron's up in 20 seconds. Slow game this may be compared to the previous one. We're already moving forward in time. And this is game number 5. It is do or die.
Yeah, and it's about prolonging laning phase in this particular game. So while we're looking at a Kog'Maw, of course, the longer he stays in lane, the better. Legitimately has 230 CS at 19 minutes in the game, so
yeah.
Fantastic farming, taking the Krogs where he can, always getting the last hits on the minions. SMLZ is an absolute monster. But the Ziggs is also content with extending the laning phase, because sooner or later, if he stays bottom, the turrets will fall.
Yeah.
And then when he gets one turret, he can get two. And OMG aren't the best macro team in the LPL. Or running around on Summoner's Rift at all. They are prone to making mistakes quite often, and if you just wait for that one mistake, IMA can take the base just based off their team composition alone.
Yeah, that's what they've got with that Ziggs for Jin Zhao, and it's just a matter of time. This is a composition a little similar to what they played against Team Invictus Gaming. If you can harken back, we saw Ziggs mid for Athena and Varus, and they just let themselves lose the early game in the first 20 minutes and
Athena might have his way in here. This is actually pretty big if he gets it off.
That's Chronosphere. There's the tidal wave. He gets SMLZ as he's being knocked up. There's a huge amount of damage from the Mega Inferno Bomb, but they don't finish it off.
He is one tick away from dying. Does Athena not have Proto Build?
He used it already. There goes a charm onto Ben4 as Icon holds on to his Spirit Rush, and that is how close that was.
He has Proto Build.
Oh yeah, he does.
Well, OMG by not having the Kog'Maw die. Oh, there we go.
Charm onto Ben4. There's the Spirit Rush. Now they push forward onto the Tier 1 turret. World 6 pushes Jin Zhao back.
Rather perplexing from the mid laner of IMA. Still has his teleport, but the top lane turret is also at risk of dying here. So OMG, they get the first turret of the game. They break the second structure of the game, and they're now looking to get the third consecutively with no reply from their opponents. That is a massive gold lead that basically just comes through from laning phase. And now in the 5th game of this series, OMG have laning phased to potentially victory.
Yeah, and to talk about the Invictus Gaming match versus IMA, they ran this sort of Zig-style composition, but the whole thing was compounded on defending their inhibitors until 55 minutes, winning a single team fight. It didn't matter if it was at 45, 50, or 55, as long as everyone was 6 items. Then making a run for the Nexus across the map.
Oh, you know we're going to 50 minutes
turrets.
with the Ziggs. There's no way around it, Dom.
IMA seem to be doing that same strategy once again. This time it's up to OMG to break it a little bit sooner.
I mean, I'd say it's a tried and true strategy, but the way that it's currently playing out proves that it's not always going to be true. However, it is definitely tried.
Yes. To be fair, they did lose that match against Invictus Gaming, but they were on the Nexus. They were, what, 250 health away from finishing the Nexus?
Health off winning the game.
And they didn't quite finish it off.
Yep.
So now they're...
Watch towards OMG here, specifically the Kog'Maw again though. All the outers being broken unlocks the map. So I may now have to place deeper defensive vision. It's not always going to be as safe to run out to the river. The next Drake that spawns, a bit harder for them to contest. But where are OMG actually going to have their lane assignments? 5 is...
Ben4 actually used his whole combo for burst, perhaps expecting some assistance.
That was, speaking of burst, Icon just lost most of his health. With the item build that he's got, he's a fragile Ari that will one-hit people. That's really good from IMA. Swapsies.
Trading places from Amazing J and Xiang. They high-five on the way through. As the rest of the teams continue to just fight over vision, Ben4 is right there.
Oh, worlds.
Gets the slow. flash kick gets him to safety. But we're continuing to see OMG just sort of strong arm Aimee back.
But that's the kind of decision that World 6 just made that will lose you games. Ben4 has the jump, you're by yourself, and suddenly you're getting 3-man because you're looking to be aggressive. Just to hit a Nami for Raptors? It's small things like that that will actually lose you games in the end, as it does appear that based off Athena's teleport that was just cancelled, they were worried about a Baron?
They really were. Getting a ward over the wall, perhaps showing that Aimee might be panicking here. 24 minutes into Game 5, down 6,000 gold against a Kog'Maw, who's completed his Runaan's Blade of the Ruined King, has a Hex Drinker to keep him alive, plus there's a Lulu behind him, and that is one threat. There is Xion, who's opening up CS over Amazing J. There is Icon, who's on that trademark Ahri once again.
Here's what we haven't mentioned as well. It's a Hex Drinker from the Lee Sin and a Hex Drinker from the Kog'Maw. You can't afford to go a QSS when you're against the Ziggs because his burst is too high, but you're also against an Echo, so you kind of want to have a QSS. We'll have to watch where SMLZ finishes out his item build.
Yeah, OMG go, rotate bottom and take down that tier 2 turret at the 25-minute mark before Aimee can respond. Ziggs is great for clearing minion waves, but if he doesn't have his ultimate or doesn't use his ultimate, he can only do it one lane at a time. Athena keeps on chasing onto Xion, but that is a tanky Renekton. You mentioned the Spirit Visage.
Yeah, just chasing his dreams. Doesn't have many left to hold on to, Athena. Don't lose this for him, Dom. His dreams are dead.
Not trying to. Okay, sorry. That's my fault.
Look what happens.
As red buff is picked up by Ben4, World 6 goes in, Athena flanks onto 5. Tidal Wave is going to knock him up, and Ben4 continues to follow, looking for the burst. End of line pops. World 6. Meanwhile, SMLZ is getting those objectives. Icon flanks. He's found Athena and gets him before the chrono break. And that is a 1-for-1 trade. Mid laner for jungle. Amazing J teleported in from behind. Ben4 is caught. He dashes back, but Icon tries to follow through. Xion gets the stun. SMLZ is firing across. Amazing J has now died by the execution of SMLZ. And that is 4 members for 2 as OMG win that fight.
Jin Zhao is still alive, but with these 3 members, they will at least destroy the Baron's health. Watch the Ziggs. No junglers.
No Mega Inferno Bomb. He's got Flash Heal. 1 mage against all of them. He gets a huge amount of burst. Actually gets the Saturn charge.
Doing work here.
Hex Drinker lands the bomb.
No,
Baron!
Die.
Oh my goodness, Baron Flash Auto! Jin Zhao solo kills and saves his team from the threat of OMG with Baron.
And what were you thinking, OMG? You get a team fight. You don't get a Baron for free with the Ziggs alive. We get to watch the team fight. The moral of this story is how much do you want it Ben4? Because Ben4 wanted it a lot. He does get the kill. This is where they need to back away.
Icon shows up and the burst that man does.
As in Ben4 ulted to get over the wall away from Icon, and yet they still teleport in. They still continue to fight, and look at what happens. Just unfortunate. The SMLZ, he'll rock up. Took him a little while to get here, but when he arrives, the damage is enough to destroy Amazing J, who is the tank of the team. Look at the excitement.
Yeah, that man, the bad boy himself. He's putting his team on his back once again. 2-1-5. 30 CS up over Athena. Has been able to keep that Echo down. He's 0-3 in this matchup. Void Staff picked up for Icon means he's going full damage. If he catches you with the charm, it is going to hurt.
You're going to die if he ever charms you. Even Amazing J would be at risk of dying right now. No magic resistance. Barely any.
Oh man, but they try to catch out Icon. That Spirit Rush used to get back to safety. SMLZ is holding minions mid, and Xion is pushing a minion wave in bottom. Teleport is on Athena, but he's grouped with his team. Aimee, Flash Charm onto Ben4. He actually has got the cooldown back up. He gets in and assassinates the jungle for Aimee. He's found Athena with no chrono break. And Icon might have single-handedly forced this play.
Icon is a one-man wrecking crew at the moment. They've got Xion pushing bottom lane. Amazing J has to answer. And Athena gets his his recall cancelled with teleport still up, however. He can still make the fight. OMG, I do not feel like there is a response available from Aimee. With their jungler dead, yes, Baron is something that they could force, but they've learnt their lesson. They're now sieging structures.
Oh yeah, that's Mega Inferno Bomb to clear out the minion wave, but it's still got a cannon, and there is a Kog'Maw free firing. With the minions in front alive, he finishes it off.
They've got themselves the turret, now reset. Again, look at the cooldown of Ahri's ultimate on the left of your screen. It is up pretty much now. So now another period of concern begins immediately for IMA, as everybody does die to him. We just saw it.
Yeah.
No exceptions.
Killing Ben 4 now is no one safe. Needlessly large rod afterwards. Goodness, that's going to be another Rabadon's death cap. He's not even going defensive.
No reason to go defensive when you're this far ahead. 295 CS, 313 CS as well from SMLZ. We said he was ahead at the clock in around 18 minutes. Well, he stayed ahead of it.
Oh yeah, he's way ahead right now. That Kog'Maw is enormous. Ocean Drake now being picked up by OMG, their second of the game, as IMA are falling further and further behind. 30 minutes into Game 5, OMG have made the cleanest and most consistent showing for why they should advance to the semifinals.
You have to say the biggest deal about 2 Ocean Drakes for this team is the mana regeneration that SMLZ is going to be getting on his Kog'Maw. That could be the difference between one extra ultimate to come down, and with the execution that it has present on the kit, that could be something that determines the game. It's a small detail, but it does mean a lot.
We'll have to keep an eye on that regeneration as the game goes on, but for now, IMA are just sitting back and trying to defend, trying to control vision over this Baron and stem the bleeding, as OMG just keep on jabbing in time and time again. They look for some damage onto World 6, but he's very tanky. A bubble still catches him. Satchel Charge flings him back.
Yeah, it's good damage, but it's never going to be damage that results in a kill. Of course, if he has jungle camps present or a smite on the red buff, which is about to spawn from IMA, then World 6 will be back to full health. It's all about that kick from him anyway. He's not meant to be a damage dealer on the team. He's just going to be a tank or someone that kills a carry for his team, and then he's done his part.
Yeah. Meanwhile, red buff picked up by Ben 4 despite a contest from OMG. You can see Amazing J is continuing to split push down. Athena, who hops over the wall, and actually they collapse onto Icon. They have killed the primary carry of OMG. SMLZ is still huge though. He's got his Triforce, and this is Aime walking through a choke into a Kog'Maw. Teleport from Xiang means that he is nice and safe, but Amazing J is right behind them.
Xiang shows up to play. It means a big no-no for Aime to actually pursue that one any further. Yes, Icon is dead, but there's 2 major carries on this team.
They see him on top of a ward as well, yeah.
Let it happen.
just let it happen. Just relax. It's okay.
Breathe.
You've got the Satchel Charge from Jin Zhao that is fully leveled up at this point.
That's
and SMLZ is getting huge damage onto Ben 4. He's caught by the bubble, but Xiang goes deep to finish off the kill.
He's not
Jump the
gonna
Waters
die.
gets in there. Athena has joined the fight. Chronosphere, and he hesitates to go in. That means World 6 lands it and gets the insect kick, but Athena buffers his dash to get over the other side of the wall. SMLZ will not let that kill go without answer, though.
They get another kill, so Athena's dead. Amazing J is alive with teleport, but Ben 4, the smite is gone, and Kog'Maw is here.
They are now turning onto the Baron, doing so much damage as they shred through.
Jin Zhao do it again.
Jin Zhao, it's time for your second huge play of the night. It is not enough. OMG, take the Baron. They have twice as many kills as Aime, and with an 11,000 gold lead, they have got momentum.
The timing was right, but the steal was not there, so Aime on the back foot. All of the expectations right now are that OMG get themselves the victory from this point. They've got the team composition. They've scaled themselves up to pretty much maximum power. All they're missing is that death cap from Icon. And that's pretty much lights out.
Oh yeah. That is a very big OMG. Here's that fight again. They find Ben 4 and just chase him to the ends of the earth.
And Xiang, honestly, never at risk of dying. The amount of shield he gets from his Hysterics, SMLZ, gets 2 buffers in the W off during this team fight. Cool interaction between World 6 and Athena. I don't actually think he needed to flash kick, but at the same time, just a cool animation buffer.
Now OMG with the Baron immediately starts sieging up. They've got that Mountain Dragon and are setting up in front of these turrets. Xiang heads bottom. He doesn't have teleport, so it'll take him some time to get that wave. So brief window for Aime to breathe easy, but slowly but surely the shutters are closing and they are running out of time.
They've got a Ziggs. That's all I'm banking on.
They do.
If you're Aime or a fan of Aime, you're looking at this team and you say, well, we have Ziggs. They do have Baron, which is one of the better tools to actually beat the Ziggs anti-siege.
Also missing bouncing bombs, generally not great. Minions crash onto the turret, and they have to respect the damage from Aime, sitting nice and far back as a bouncing bomb just tickles Icon. Luckily, he is Ahri, so we can get that health back without problem.
They actually need to threaten more than one lane at once if you want to be successful here, OMG. So Xiang's never going to die. He doesn't have teleport, though. And so his job, if he does split push, is actually to keep Amazing J there with him. There should just be no situation where Xiang and Amazing J are not next to each other if they're split pushing. However, affecting 2 lanes at once, sending multiple members around, works.
Yeah, the minion wave is cleared up top. Xiang dives along with Icon. Charm under road. They're getting a lot of damage onto the support Redemption to keep himself alive. And now Aimee are grouped up. It's time to fight. It's time to decide it. That's the back as Athena goes in. Athena manages to kill Icon. He drops his Zhonya's, but will almost certainly die. Ignite burning down, and he walks away with his life. Aimee, you can't win this fight. That's not allowed. They're doing so much damage, though. Okay, so they don't win the fight. They take the kill onto Icon. They're teleporting from Athena and Amazing J to get in there. Amazing J looks for Icon. That's Athena on the other side. And again, Aimee backs against the wall. Game number 5. They are trying to take this fight, but SMLZ is doing so much damage. He gets 1. He looks for 2, but cannot find it. He's still got Baron buff and the rest of his team.
Aimee barely survived that fight. They barely keep themselves in the game, but somehow they managed to only lose the inhibitor. It is remarkable that Aimee are even still in this game whatsoever.
Against a Kog'Maw, against Icon on his signature Ahri, with Athena on his 2nd time Echo, Jin Jiao on his 2nd time Ziggs, and they are still winning late game fights. Backs against the Nexus. How, huh?
Caveat winning, to be fair, with that one. The inhibitor still goes down.
They kept themselves alive.
What they did get is the duration of the Baron to be significantly reduced. In fact, I believe it just wore off with only the 1 inhibitor to go down. The Elder Dragon, however, they just got a death cap onto Ahri. SMLZ has got his complete item build. The Baron's nice. They broke the base with the Baron already, so they achieved their purpose with that buff. Now they get an Elder Dragon buff. They'll actually kill you instead of just breaking the base. Like, you are just going to pop. SMLZ will look at you and you'll run away.
That is an additional 180 true damage on top of the huge stats that you just mentioned with the items that they picked up. As 5, they are running right down bottom. Recall from Ben 4 and Athena to quickly try to get back and defend. But 2 minion waves are already about to crash. Jin Jiao, luckily, they are only regular minions, but look at the damage that is being done. SMLZ takes a little bit of a chunk. Athena's caught by the charm and dies. Now there's the go button. Xiang walks forward as the rest of the team follow up behind him. They finish off the turret without minions. They look now for the 2nd inhibitor. They've still got the Elder Dragon buff. And they have got super minions pushing down mid.
They're not
That's
done.
The dash from Icon. He's going to try to end it. Jin Jiao dashes back to keep himself up, but he's slowly burning down. SMLZ is firing onto the turrets. He gets 1, turns onto Amazing J. OMG are just a few thousand health away from moving on to semifinals, and they are doing it. They turn onto the Nexus, and Jin Jiao is firing. He's doing what he can. He dies. Ben 4 is gone. Amazing J is on the fountain, and he's just getting these kills for glory because OMG have done it. They have reversed sweep Aimee and taken the series.
And how does it feel, Aimee, to be reverse swept yourselves in a turn of events? OMG. 2nd team in their group, and they proved their worth. They managed to retain their spot as the 2nd best team in their group and actually go to the semifinals.
You can see huge smiles, big sighs of relief as OMG step up and now begin shaking hands with Aimee after a long and very hard-fought war of attrition. Yet the higher seed, OMG, come out victorious. They will move on to play WE, as you said, in just 2 days on Saturday in that semi-final match, as they take a deep bow and finally get a chance to rest easy, as 8 hours after the beginning of the set, they wrap up their best of 5 against Aimee.
By winning in Game 6, Dom.
Yeah.
OMG, well-deserving victory, well-deserving bow. You have to give them credit for coming back. A reverse sweep is a very difficult thing to do, but Aimee, their opponents, they came into this 4th place. They went through their 1st round. They beat QG very convincingly, and that was a team that said they're happy just not getting relegated. And you couldn't help but feel bad for them being 2-0 up. and still managing to lose.
Yeah.
They could have gone to the semifinals. That is so much better than just not getting relegated.
One of the top 4 teams in the league. Well, we're still seeing huge performance out of Aimee as Icon with a big smile to the camera, making his way backstage. You've got to take that smile with a grain of salt after seeing how he treated Athena in lane. That man is a monster.
Yeah, absolutely right. Icon being able to body someone in laning phase that 2 games beforehand managed to beat him speaks well to the character that lives in the middle lane for OMG. The whole team coming together. Getting to 5 games, but winning in 5 games shows the mental fortitude out of this all-Chinese roster. They've got what it takes.
Yeah, they certainly do. They'll have to show it once again against WE, but as you were saying, Aimee, they just wanted to avoid relegations. Their second thing was that they wanted to beat EDG. They did both of those things in spades. Looking forward to the summer split, this is a team that could actually really compete against some of the top-tier teams. We've seen them take wins off of these higher-level players. Now they get to show us some growth. They have a month and a half before the summer split will return. Perhaps Aimee could make a second run towards Worlds, not by stealing it out from one of the better teams, but by deserving it themselves.
Yeah, perhaps, but unfortunately for Aimee, their run does end here as they were beaten by OMG in game number 5. Unfortunately for Aimee, they got progressively worse as the series went on. It could be tiredness. It could be coming down to drafting. Maybe they were just exploited a little bit. But small things, you know, like picking the Fizz being #1 priority. We're coming to the 5th game, and Renekton now beats it.
Yeah.
Suddenly, Xiang is playing like an absolute beast, and that to me carries over as momentum. OMG just has so much momentum, bringing it back in game 3, game 4, and there was nothing slowing them down in the 5th.
And the craziest thing was that it was halfway through game 3 that they found their momentum. OMG were down. They were behind, back against the wall. They were losing tier 2s. They were losing turrets across the map, but then they started winning those fights off of the huge Xiang. They started winning those fights off of Icon, getting absolutely huge plays on that Ahri. And from there, they just brought it back. All right, we've won game number 3. Let's do it again in game 2. It was a chaotic brawl. It seemed like they tried to match the style of OMG.
Yeah.
But really, no one in the LPL has quite been able to match OMG when they are that chaotic.
When they're moving with momentum as well forward. So they're behind, but they get a team fight. And the thing is, the pace of the game shifts after you win a team fight, that you feel like you can win progressive team fights. And that's the momentum that OMG need, because they are that team that they force chaos onto you. But if they actually make the chaos work, then suddenly the whole game pans out perfectly for them. This is one of those big replays, 21 minutes into the game, where you thought Aimee had a possibility here. Athena had Proto Belt. I'm still tilted by that.
24 health on SMLZ as he made his way out of this. And then Icon, boom, nails the charm. Speak of the man, and he shall appear. 4, 3, and 7. He gets the MVP for the 3rd time in a row this series.
3 wins for OMG, 3 MVPs for Icon, 2 Ahris, 1 Zed, and a semifinals berth on the back of this man.
Huge performance from him. I mean, you saw how happy he was getting to walk off stage, being able now to advance towards the semifinals. Definitely deserving of it with those charms that he was landing, the constant flanks onto Jin Zhao, and even on the Zed performance, just diving him, killing Road as the game went on. And if you are WE, how do you prepare for a team like this that just went to Game 5 against Diamond?
Cool thing about WE, and why I'm a little bit curious as to how this matchup does actually play out, is that WE, to me, feel like Aimee with a laning phase, and that they are a very aggressive early game team, and you're going to see a very difficult time for World 6. Condi's the kind of jungler that will 100% try to exploit you or take you down. He's very opportunistic, but he's so aggressive early.
Yeah.
That early aggression is something that gives WE either 26-minute victories, or if it doesn't work, they sit back to the 35-minute mark and turn it on once they get items. But that